morning, everybody. Welcome to episode 4 of Enduro Radio. Actually, coming from a different place today. Welcome to beautiful Tampico, Washington. This place is about an hour south of Little Natchez. And if you want to get here, there is one fantastic single track trail that comes right off of this campground. So if you GPS yourself to Tree Phone Campground at the Autanum State Forest, you will get here. And it is about 100 yards to our south, right at that little turn right there. And it is called the Gray Rock Trail, and we're gonna be taking you on a ride today. Should be pretty fun. And without further ado, let's get cracking. Okay, here we go. Gray Rock Trailhead. So this trail does have a lot of some pretty tight switchbacks relative to some of the other places we ride. It is pretty rocky, hence its name, the Gray Rock Trail. But it is fantastic. It comes up over 3 different mountain ridges on its course from south end to the north end of this mountain range. And you can actually connect it at the end of this thing to a Jeep trail, which on a map would be labeled as 613. And that Jeep trail will take you up and over the top of the Snow Cabin Mountain, which is, just shy of 7,000 feet. So if you actually make this ride from the bottom, you climb 3,900 feet of elevation, which is not bad. And from that Snow Cabin, you take it down to Blue Lake and then hop on the Jeep trail, which takes you back down to the North Fork Road, and you take that thing all the way back down from the top of the mountain to where you park. So inevitably, what you've done is you've changed elevation to the tune of about, just shy of 8,000 feet, I suppose, and about a 35-mile loop. The last 15 or 20 of it is Jeep trail and service road, so it's not too bad, but there are some nasty spots of this trail, albeit, and we will get there eventually. I'm going to try to film this whole thing today, guys, but I don't know if I'm going to have the battery life, to be perfectly honest with you. Oh, yeah. And what's nice about this trail that not a lot of people know of, which is kind of the point really I'm trying to make, is it's the only single track trail out here in this whole kind of mountain range called Tampico, or Autanum State Forest, whichever you prefer. So it doesn't get used a lot, which means it's not all whooped out, which is awesome. And some people don't like it because they say, oh, it's too rocky, or too many roots, or I don't know, it's too hard, whatever, but there we go. I like it for that reason. And I'm a little partial to this trail. This is probably the closest dirt bike trail to where we live from our house. We drive here for, 20 minutes, so not bad. And it has a little bit of sentimental value to me. This was the very trail I was riding when I came up with the idea of Enduro Radio in the first place. I was sitting at home. It was Sunday, I didn't have a lot going on, and like, you know what? I'm just gonna pop out there real quick and just do a little solo ride. I didn't plan on doing the whole thing, but I'll be damned, I ended up doing the whole thing, and it was on the way back down the other way from here. I was just kind of in my zone, and I kind of found my happy place. Everything was working right, the bike was working good. I said, I'm just going to keep going, and for whatever reason, I had a lot on my mind that day. Not necessarily bad stuff, but just a lot on my mind, and I started thinking, and I kind of started talking to myself, as embarrassing as it is, and it's kind of when I came up with the idea. I said, you know, maybe I should spit some of this out. And here we are today, doing the damn thing. And that was kind of my purpose for today. I was thinking about this last night as I was laying in bed, wondering what the hell I was going to talk about because I didn't have anything written at all. Your happy place. What is it to you? Where is it? Who is it, for that matter? You know, we all have our little thing, and sometimes they're hard to find. And as you very well know, if you've listened to me talk for more than 5 minutes, this is my happy place. Without a doubt, no questions asked. Nothing even close to it. But sometimes those places, and I use it metaphorically speaking, you know, your happy place can be, you know, something you like to do, or someone you really cherish, or a place that you go. It can, you know, anything. It can even be a state of mind. Not necessarily important as to what it is. It just has to be important to you. That's the thing. But I have come to learn the dire importance of that happy place, so to speak, as it pertains to, you know, your overall quality of life. And that's why we don't really miss weekends of doing this, and that's why I can bring you guys videos, you know, damn near weekly, is because there's not a lot of weekends that we don't make it out here. And I attribute a lot of that, it's a tight switchback here at a 3-point. I attribute a lot of that to, you know, the fact that I got lucky and was able to marry someone that loves this damn near as much as I do. So she's always willing to come along. But my wife, she's got it down for anything. She wants to go do something outside. It doesn't matter what it is. She's all about it. So I wouldn't trade this for the world. And I think I've said that more than once before. But I'm not talking about myself. As far as my happy place, you all know what that is. Damn well and good. I'm talking about yours. Do you have one? What is it? How important is it to you? Would you sacrifice for it? Things of that nature. Because everything comes at somewhat of a cost, you know. Even us being out here is, you know, not like I don't have a bunch of yard work to do back at home. We own 5 acres. There's shit to do all the time. But you gotta make time for this. You gotta make time for whatever your thing is. There's no point in going through life not doing the things you love. And I mean no point. Yeah, there's things to do. You gotta clean your house, you gotta go to work, you gotta take care of your stuff, absolutely. And don't let me discount the importance of that either. You know, having a good job and a steady income and a little peace of mind and security in your life counts for a lot towards that happy place. You know what I mean? It's, if you don't have one, you can't really have the other, or it's very arduous to attain. Jeez. So it's important to kind of put those two together. I do take my job very seriously during the week. And I do have a company phone that the people I deal with, whether it be coworkers or outside customers, what have you, if it rings and I hear it, I'll answer that sucker. Doesn't matter what day it is or what time of day. But on the weekends, I'm a dirt bike guy. I'm out here riding the trails. And it takes a lot, and I mean a lot, for this not to happen. I'll make every excuse in the book so that I don't have to miss a day out here. You bet. But this is what gives me that peace, that serenity that I genuinely hope you find in your own life. Because you gotta have it. Life is real short. I say it all the time because it's true. You only get one shot to enjoy yourself and value your own life and the people around you and the things you do. So might as well make it count. And the point I was trying to make back there is it's just not worth it not to do the things you want to do in life. Yeah, it might be, you know, a little difficult road to get to what you want. You might have to make a plan, but damn it, make that plan, make it happen. There's always a way to do something. Very rarely is something completely unattainable or impossible. Most of those things that are, I refuse to believe that fact. When me and my wife first wanted to, you know, move away from where we were born and raised, you know, and seek out a better life, maybe make some more money, maybe be able to buy our first home, which we did, finally. A little late bloomers. I think we were 33 when we finally did it, but, you know, we got her done. Because we made a plan, and we executed it, and made it happen. And it wasn't something that was, you know, extremely terrifying to do either. Yeah, it took some planning and it took, you know, some work, without a doubt. And it wasn't the easiest thing we ever did, but the good things rarely are. My point is, I'm a pretty average guy. I wouldn't call myself spectacular in any realm relative to some really, really amazing people out there that I know and love, but if I can do this and change my life for the better, you can do it very easily. There is always a way to do something, you guys. You just got to figure out what that is and make it happen. I used to work at a hardware store in Bellingham, Washington called Hardware Sales. The neatest hardware store you'll ever see. And my boss, the owner of the company, his name is Ty McClellan. He once told me something just in passing. You know, it wasn't like we were having a deep philosophical conversation. We were just kind of standing around the desk at the power tool department for a quick minute. But he told me, as it related to my work life and my personal life, he said if there's something in your life that you don't like, just change it. And I kind of didn't take it to heart right away, but I started implementing that into little things around the workplace in there, because it was a lot going on all the time. It was the busiest hardware store you'll ever see for a mom and pop shop, and we were cooking. And there was just little things I wanted to fix or make more efficient, or just, hell, selfishly make my life easier from, you know, 9 to 5 or what have you. And I'll be damned if it didn't work like a dream. So I started taking that to heart a little bit more. And unfortunately, Ty, if you're listening, that piece of advice is ultimately what led me to move on. But I still talk about that place every day. It was a huge stepping stone for me in my life. It, dare I say, kind of led me to where I'm at now. And I definitely don't take that for granted. And I appreciate that man for what he did for me and my family. Heck, my family worked there for 3 generations, and we were very well taken care of. And they treated us with the most respect, I think, I've ever encountered. And if I were to give him a call today, right this minute, and said, hey, I'm on my way back and I need a job tomorrow, I have no doubt in my mind that job would be there for me. They're those type of people, which are very rare to find. Mr. McCullen, also himself an avid enduro rider, but he's a big bore guy. He likes those Husky 501s, but he's one of the faster big guys you'll see. Incredibly, the man rides some of the gnarlier stuff you'll ever see, and he refuses to stand up. The man's in the seat the whole time, just bouncing himself all to hell, but never really seems to get tired of it, and I've never seen anybody ride quite like that before. Kind of amazing. I sit down too much one of these days. I'm paying for it the next day. I feel like my spine got compressed. But back to my point, that advice Mr. McClellan gave me really, I think, put things in perspective all the way around, and is what kind of led me to my entire point today. If you guys want something, doesn't matter what it is, you want to, go to that place you wanted to go on vacation, or you wanted to go for that big job, or you wanted to go back to school and get that degree, or you wanted to buy that bike, go get it. What are you doing just sitting around? You can get it. It might take a little while. You might have to make a plan, but it is physically attainable. Just might seem hard at first. Just take one little step at a time. That's all you gotta do. I saw a post on social media last week that was a guy on a Husqvarna Supermoto pulling a big old wheelie out of the corner. I'll try and find it and put it up here, but all it said was, buy the bike. There's no point in being the richest in the cemetery. And it was funny, but I saved that photo because of what it meant to me outside of just being, a funny picture or funny meme or what have you. You can't take it with you. Yeah, it's good to have some money in the bank. You bet. A little security, like I talked about earlier. It's a smart thing to do. It's a smart decision, a wise choice. But you get to keep it when you die. And you don't know when that's going to be. So treat yourself a little bit. Or hell, treat somebody else. If it's that big ticket thing or something you want to do that's not even for you, hell yes, go do it. Get it done. More to the point, enjoy it. If you're not going to enjoy it, or it's something you don't enjoy, and you're not obligated to do it, don't. That is my best advice to you on the path to a, rich and happy life. And I don't mean rich in the monetary terms. I consider myself to be a very rich man, but not financially. That's not what my point I'm trying to make. I'm talking about the things I get to do with my life, the people I have in my life, the job I get to go to every day, not have to, get to. Because I found one of those rare occurrences in life where I actually love it. I don't dread going to work any day, except for Mondays, but that's just the Garfield in me. Nobody likes Mondays. Other than that, I genuinely enjoy it. And that counts for a lot. I genuinely enjoyed working at hardware sales as well. The only thing I didn't is it was, you're just your average customer walk-in retail environment. So anybody that's worked in retail knows that comes with its slight disadvantages, as you can imagine. And had it not been for the opportunity that was presented to me to move to the area we live to today, to be able to buy our first home and just seek out a better life with a little bit more financial security than we had where we lived in Bellingham, because Bellingham these days is a very expensive place to live, just period. It's directly north of Seattle on the I-5 corridor, about 90 miles, so cost of living's higher, real estate's more expensive, tax rates are higher. That stuff adds up real quick. So we were in no position to be able to afford to buy a home of our own, really of any kind over there, unless we wanted some, shitty little condo or something somewhere, but that's not really our style. We want to be out in the country. We're country bumpkins. We really like it that way. It's peaceful, We're not about the hustle and bustle of city life at all. But the point I'm trying to make there is, had it not been for this opportunity that presented itself, I would still be working at hardware sales. And the reason why is how we were treated and the people around me were just some of the best people. And I got to work with my dad every day. He started working there in 1987. I was 2. And lo and behold, 2014, I got hired on to work at Power Tools, so we got to spend a lot of time together. We had lunch every day together, and that was really, really cool. And of course, he retired shortly after I left, and then began his battle with cancer. Unfortunately, it's stage 3 pancreatic. And I'm happy to report, just to give everybody an update, as we film today, I want to say it's June 21st, if I can remember what damn day it is. Just had a good report on Pops from the old doctor a couple days back. No chemo scheduled, not necessary. Cancer's kind of neutral, and he's got a full head of hair again and a big old mustache. He's pretty excited about that. That was his biggest thing when he called me. He's like, oh, got a big mustache. So attaboy, Pop. Go get it. Oh, this is a tight one. Actually, a little training timeout since we're standing here. If you ever come to a switchback that you don't like and it's a little bit tight, there's an easy way about it. Just kind of run your tire up on the ridge, back up, and off you go. Not to say that's the tightest thing in the world, but figured I'd share that in case you didn't already know. This trail really is a lot of fun, guys. If you ever get the chance, drive on out here at camp for the weekend and ride it. It does take you to some beautiful views, 3 to be exact, and a lake that you can only get to by dirt bike, horse, and off-road 4-wheel drive vehicle. You definitely ain't just driving there, that's for damn sure. It's kind of a pretty little lake. It's more of a glorified pond, but just the same, it's very peaceful. And that pretty much, I want to say, is I don't know, about a mile from the end of the actual trail before you hit the Forest Service Road of what I like to call this ride is the Blue Lake Loop. Not a proper nomenclature or designation, just something we called it because we kind of linked a couple trails together to make a big loop out of it, because if you don't, this trail is just a down and back, really, which is fun as well, but it's nice to go get some extra scenery on your way. So you do this trail just down and back, you're about 30-32 miles. If you do the Blue Lake Loop, you're about 35, so you know, no skin off your back. If you do the whole Blue Lake Loop, it's actually a little bit easier, so if you're kind of worn out towards the end of this trail, you can make that happen. It does get a little tight, albeit, and it'll kind of surprise you here and there, so watch yourself, because all this stuff, it's kind of hard to tell on GoPro here, but it is loosey-goosey and rocky, and you have a tendency to hit these little round rocks that want to throw your front tire left or right, kind of throw you off your line. As you can see, there's not a lot of room for error, which is why I'm kind of going slow. And there's all these tiny little switchbacks, which ain't terrible, but if you got short legs, switchbacks can be your worst nightmare. My poor wife finds out sometimes, but she's getting a lot better at it. Back to my point, as far as, you know, finding your happy place or doing something you want to do with your life without, you know, stressing yourself out to death to get it. There's a lot of rewards in that. Hell, there's a lot of rewards in the journey to get to it. You learn a lot. You learn a lot about what you're doing. You learn a lot about yourself and the things you can do. And hell, maybe you discovered a new skill or a new talent or a new way to push forward that you didn't think you had in you. And I'm only saying that because that's exactly what I learned about myself through the last about 3 years of my life. And it kind of gave me a revelation about the whole thing. what I mean by revelation is not, you know, I guess the classical terms of what you think it might be. What I mean by that is I kind of discovered something in myself I didn't know I had, and that is kind of the ability to just get after something I want, you know, more than I thought I did. And yeah, it's a complete psychological thing, you bet. It's not that I'm special or anything. I just kind of made myself push forward harder, I guess. And believe you me, it was scary. Everything we did to come over here, don't get me wrong. And we are gonna take a little intermission to deal with that guy. We'll be right back with you. And when I say it was scary, it was kind of just a thing of the unknown, really. The problem was both me and my wife essentially, we weren't even married at the time. We were still living in about the same 5 to 10 square miles we were born in at the time we decided to move about 250 miles and a half a state away from the whole thing for a new job I didn't know necessarily anything about. I kind of had the gist of it, but that was about the end of it. To not knowing where we were going to live per se. We had a brother, my brother rather, that lives near here, that we were able to couch surf one of his back bedrooms while we looked for a place, but we didn't know what the real estate market was going to be like, you know, for sure, if we were going to rent or buy. And it was kind of a freaky 4 months, you know. I drug us all the way over here wondering, oh man, what the hell did I just do? And there was a lot of times of uncertainty, even after we bought our house finally, you know, which took about 4 to 5 months, somewhere in there, you know, with the occupation itself. And it was freaky. I'd wondered at times if I'd kind of totally screwed us over, but that was just that uncertainty. That's kind of what gets to you. And that's one of the parts I'm talking about having a revelation about it. It's merely the uncertainty that will kind of prevent you from wanting to do anything different in that regard, because it's scary or it's too hard or I don't know what the outcome's going to be. Well, you never know what the outcome's going to be for anything. You don't know what the outcome's going to be when you get in your car to go to the damn grocery store or you walk to your mailbox to get the mail. Yeah, it's a high probability you're going to open up the mailbox and there's going to be mail in there. You bet, but you don't know if you're going to get hit by a car while you're trying to cross your road or, you know, anything. I'm not saying I hope you get hit by a car, because I don't. I'm just saying everything you do in your day-to-day life has a pretty vast level of uncertainty to it. So don't let that deter you. My point is, if you let those things deter you, you're going to have a lot higher probability of just kind of falling into a mundane groove of life. Not that there's anything wrong with that. You know, people like stability, they like routine, they like things to be, you know, normal, I guess, is a simple way to put it, where you go to work, you do your thing, you go home, you know, maybe you go to the movies on the weekends or whatever you want to do. And by all means, if that's what makes you happy, shit, yeah, get after it. Go get you some, because that's your thing, and you should own it. Doesn't matter what your thing is, or who your thing is, or where your thing is. Just love it, own it. The rock fall. This has gotten a lot better. This used to be kind of nasty with these big rocks that are now piled on the side. Not so bad anymore. How we doing, folks? I got 2 more. I've learned a lot of things in my life, you guys. But that's probably the most important thing, I would say. Next to, you know, being respectful and and treating people well, and you know, not being a total asshole in your day-to-days and things like that, is if you want something bad enough and you set your mind to it, there's really not a lot stopping you. You're gonna hit obstacles, and an obstacle I consider to be a problem. And for every problem, there is a solution. Simply put, when you come to one of these obstacles, figure out how to get through it. Take one thing at a time. If you look at it as a whole and a broad spectrum, sometimes it can be overwhelming. It can be a bit too much. But if you look at things as one task or one step, you can have a lot easier time getting through what you need to get through. In order to attain whatever the heck it is you want to attain. I'm not saying I live by that day in and day out, but the more I try to remember it, the better I tend to do at things. Might take a little longer, might be a little hard, but you know, you can get her done one way or another. And I'm telling you all this because that's how ultimately you'll find your happy place. And you gotta have it. And don't let anybody make you feel bad for wanting it or going after it or having it or devoting a lot of time to it. If you have people in your life that try to pull you away from whatever your happy place is, or that hobby you want to do, or the thing you love to do, as long as it's not unhealthy to you, you know, I'm not saying make your happy place, you know, drinking booze and smoking weed and doing drugs all the time. That's not very healthy. Hell, I'd deter you from that as well. But I'm talking about if you have a hobby or a one thing you really love. My dad loved playing slow pitch softball. He played baseball for 50 years. You know, that's something he loved, and nobody ever told him he couldn't do it. He had a ball doing it. For me, it's motorcycles. And very, very rarely, only once in my life, has anyone tried to pull me away from it. And I promptly ejected that person from my life. And it was the right thing to do. And if there is someone in your life that's keeping you from that, I don't think they're really worth it to you. You know? I'm not trying to give you relationship advice or anything. I'm just saying, you gotta ask yourself, is there any one person or thing that is worth pulling you away from the thing or person or place that you love the most? I would hope that answer is no. Because there shouldn't be. And if it is, well shoot, that's probably your happy place over there on the other side of the fence. So, more power to you, go get it. I generally want, you know, people to be happy and enjoy their life. I think we take for granted, you know, again, I've said it before, we gotta get complacent and mundane in our day-to-day lives as we go about our business. And we forget how short and beautiful this whole thing is. Look at where we're at today, you guys, for Christ's sake. This place, for one, is never this green. This is something different this time of year, and it is beautiful. And sometimes I kind of lose focus of where my front tire is going because I just kind of get in awe of this scenery. It's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to start Enduro Radio, is to take people along on these rides that maybe don't get to see these rides. And this is just one of the big reasons why I don't think you'll ever see me do much else. I don't really have a desire. I don't like golf. I don't really care for playing sports or going to parties or I don't know, anything like that. It's just, I don't care about that stuff. It's not my thing. I'm fairly one-track minded in that regard because I can identify this as the thing I love to do and want to do. And I have accepted that fact about my own personality. And it just is what it is. A few years back, I mean, I didn't really enjoy it, but man, one day it just clicked in my head as I freaking hate this. It's hiking. And we were down in Oregon, me and my wife, with my brother and his wife, and decided to go on this hike. I'm like, all right, fine, I guess we'll go. And about halfway through that hike, I kind of stopped mid-stride, and I looked back at Destiny and said, no, I don't want to do this. I don't like this at all. Do I have to do this? She goes, no, of course not. And I said, okay, I don't want to do that. So I went back to the car. I was bored. I didn't like what I was doing, and I didn't want to do it. I thought it was a waste of time. So I left. I'll be home riding my dirt bike anyway. Not that I don't value my time with my wife, because again, our time is very, very short, and I love that woman very much. I don't think most people have any idea of my feelings towards that woman, truly and wholeheartedly. I just despise, with every fiber of my being, hiking. And I don't know why. I just know I don't like it, and I don't want to do it, so I'm not going to do it. And that's just one of those things. And I'm just saying, I'm telling you all this to tell you, you don't have to do things you don't want to do if you're not obligated to do them. And ultimately, you will find yourself having a happier life. And that, you guys, is worth every bit of everything you're seeing right now. Beautiful. All right. Sorry about the brief intermission there, folks. We were kind of at the halfway point of just the single track portion of this ride, so thought we'd take a break and, give old Johnny and the wife a breather there before we start climbing the rocky stuff. So what we just did there is the first up and down over the mountain peak, and now we're going to start the second one here, which it's got some doozy spots, without a doubt. But it's got some fun stuff too. Well, it's all fun. I wouldn't say there's any part of this ride that I don't like. There's not a lot of parts of any ride that I don't like. Just gotta watch out for the jagged stuff here so you don't pop a tire or throw your front tire into next week. Like this stuff. Just kind of easily trudge through it. No reason to be a hero. Ooh, like that, right there. Case in point. What we were talking about earlier, as far as doing what you love, loving what you do, finding your happy place, and just having a happy and peaceful and enjoyable quality of life. Whatever you got to do to get that, go do it. We all have our thing in our mind of, what we want to do with ourselves, or the things we like to do for fun and things of that nature. And sometimes it seems, again, unattainable or arduous to get at, or just hard. That's not a reason not to try, is my point. And I'm going to stop here, folks, because I'm not going to lie to you. I feel a wee bit of rear end wiggle going on here. So we're just going to stop and make sure everything's hunky-dory. Rear's good, no wiggle, chain's tight. Because I can tell you from personal experience, it's worth every bit of the trial and tribulation you will go through to get to where you want to be. And ever since I've started implementing that philosophy into my lifestyle, life has been very good to me. I've worked for it and I've tried hard. It hasn't necessarily been handed to me. I had a lot of people that have helped me, but I went for it and I got what I was looking for. It's beautiful. Just had a couple of misses over at Switchback there. That's what I'm talking about. The shorter-legged people of the world definitely going to have a harder time with switchbacks because you really want to get your inside foot down, and if you got a weird off-camber angle which way or the other, that could be kind of a bugger if you don't get it in one swift, smooth motion. And with the rocks the way they are back there, it's kind of a hard thing to do with that particular switchback in one swift motion, because you don't want to, again, throw yourself into next week going over it. Safety first, as with all things. And this is the one time that I got something to say that I really hope you guys out there listening and watching this take that a little bit to heart. And I know if you're watching this, your happy place is probably exactly this, what I'm doing right now. Or it's at least one of them. But if there's something else you want to do, or, you know, if you got something brewing around in your head, go explore it. See what it might be. See if you like it or not. Hell, all you can do is try. I've said it before, if you're gonna fail, fail well. Go out kicking with your boots on, but for God's sakes, try. Might be surprised what you can do. We are definitely getting into some of the rockier stuff out here. It kind of comes and goes with the ridge, but the rest of this trail is well worth it. And on that note of people out there watching this video, one point I was thinking about last night I kind of wanted to make today. In about 3 weeks' time, I know it's not a lot to you, but it's a lot to me. We've had, I think at last count, I want to say 44 or 45 subscribers, and probably 650 total view counts between the first 3 episodes, which is more than I expected, to be honest with you. I just kind of wanted to put this thing out there as, you know, something to do. Again, my way to kind of give back to the motorcycle community, maybe give you my thoughts on some stuff, or show you some rides that maybe you haven't been on or you've been wanting to do, or maybe just give you an idea of how tough it is in case, you know, you got kids or you're bringing your wife along on it. You don't want to take them on something that's too nasty. And I just wanted to thank you guys out there for that. It's really nice to know that there's people out there that actually enjoy watching these, you know. It makes it kind of worth it, because this does require a bit of effort on top of everything else, you know, that I do in my life with, you know, working 50, 60 hours a week and taking care of the house and being a husband and, you know, all my other priorities. We got to come out here, set aside a whole day of the week, figure out something to talk about, film the thing, take all the footage back, download it onto the computer, edit everything, render it, and put it to YouTube. So there is a little bit that goes into this, make no mistake about it. Just to kind of keep it consistent and semi-professional. I don't have any illusions of grandeur of my video editing skills, I promise you. I had to learn how to do all this about a month ago. Before that, I never really did anything with it, other than, you know, putting some of the GoPro footage from our onboard stuff when I was racing Superbike. But, you know, hell, that was 7-8 years ago, and never really did any editing to it per se. All I did was, you know, put the footage up Got a little bit of a loosey-goosey climb here. See if we can get up this. Oh, a lot better than it used to be. Alright folks, let's get up this little climb here and then we'll continue on. Had to stop back there to help a wife over that rocky stuff. Again, I do that a lot, but I do it because I don't want her to have a bad time, and some of these rocks can just be downright detrimental to your drive, both physically and psychologically. They just kind of wear you down. So after all that, folks, I'm going to leave you with this. Be kind to yourself. Pay attention to yourself and the things you want to do with your life. Don't let anybody get in the way of that stuff. And keep pushing forward. As long as it's healthy to you and you love it, get her done. And as always, take care of yourselves out there, everybody. And damn it, take care of each other. We'll see you real soon. And we're going to film the rest of this ride. I'm going to keep going until this damn GoPro dies, and we're going to put it up under the Enduro Radio channel as well. So keep looking for that. Other than that, we'll see you next week. Bye.